Today, and for yarn's sake, we're going to show you how to make this very cute amigurumi butterfly. So let's grab your supplies and crochet along with me. Okay, so for our cute little butterfly here, we're going to need some worsted weight yarn. You can make this in as many different colors as you like. I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors, and then black for the antenna and all the little face details. So grab what you like and let's get started. I'm using today a 4mm crochet hook, of course your scissors, and your acrylic yarn. And one more thing we're going to need, if you've never made amigurumi before, is a little scrap of yarn that I use as a stitch marker. Now there's lots of fancy stitch markers you can buy, but I always have scraps of yarn laying around and they don't cost me any extra money, so we're going to use that. Okay, so for my pattern here, you can find this pattern on my website, which the link is down in the description below. So for our head, our large ball, I'm going to use this nice little orange color. And to start out amigurumi, we need to we're going to be crocheting in the round, which is going to go in a circle around and around and around. There are two ways that I know how to do this. One is to just go ahead and make your slip knot and make 2 chains, and then back here in the first chain is where we'll start our round. The second way to do it, and this is my favorite way, although it took me a little while to master this, so it's called the magic ring. So we go ahead and make a loop like so, and we pinch and hold it. Okay, and I like to hold it just like this in my fingers, and then insert our hook, go over, and then we're just going to make a slip stitch there to kind of hold it off, tie so it doesn't open up on us. Okay, but either way, get your if you know how to make your magic ring, that's great, or use the 2 chain method. But in this first ring, the first row, we're just going to put 6 single crochet. So we just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and one more, make 6. And you know, like every project you ever do, the first row, the first round is always a little trickier to get, but once you get that going, it makes it a lot easier. So then we just pull on our tail on our magic ring, and it cinches that hole right up. Okay, and then we're going to move on to round 2. In round 2, we're going to start in the first stitch. Okay, and sometimes it's a little hard to see exactly where that is. So I count backwards. I start backwards, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and right there is our first one that we did. Let me get that on camera for you there. And we're on our second row. We're just going to insert our hook, and we're going to put increase in each stitch around. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch. And what I like to do is I like to take the yarn tail here and just crochet right over top of it. Gives you a little bit of extra security that it's going to stay right in place. So on this first row, I don't normally put a stitch marker in because it's a little tight, so we'll just count along. So there's 1 and 1. Oop, 1 and 1. Okay, and make sure our stitch marker is laying right down on top. In our second stitch, we're going to put 2, so I count 2 and 2. And then here's our third stitch, so I count 3 and 3. Grab me some more yarn here, and then now we have this yarn tail pretty well secured in here in the first 3. So we're just going to put that back behind and go along. So in number 4, we go 4 and 4, and then we go 5 and 5, and then we go 6 and 6. All right, and as with all your projects, you want to make sure your stitch count is accurate. So if you're unsure or you want to check, you can see the stitches on the side, and you just go and count our stitches around and make sure there's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And there we go. And you notice we still have a little hole in the middle, but we don't want that hole there because that's where our stuffing is going to come out. So just take your yarn tail and tug on it so it's really tight, and that hole goes away. So here we go on round 3. We're going to put in 1 single crochet. So there's 1. And then on the next stitch, we're going to put a single crochet increase. So that's 2 and 2. And nothing could be easier. That's it. That's the whole pattern for the whole row. So the next stitch is 1, and then the next stitch is 2. 2 and 2. And keep going around. We have 1, 2 stitches left, and then our stitch marker. So we know we're going to the end. So we're going to put 1, and then 2 and 2. And generally, you will always be putting 2 crochets in the final, in your final stitch. So on our next one, we're going to be increasing again by 6. So go ahead and place your stitch marker again. And on this one, we're going to go 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and then we're going to increase 2 and 2 and 1 and 2, 2 and 2, and you just keep doing that all the way around. The next round is going to be 3 single crochets. That's 1 and 2 and 3, and then in the fourth one we'll put 2. 1 and 2, and one more set. We go 1, 2, 3, and 1 and 2. All right, and we're going to go with round 6, and you guessed it, we're going to do 4 single crochets. And let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets, and then an increase, and then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an increase. And you can see when I say how we're going to make things personal, this is a really good way of making things personal. If you know somebody, if you're making this for a gift and someone likes specific colors, make them in that color. If you want to use a larger hook and a bulky yarn, use a larger hook and a bulky yarn. This is all the patterns here are just guides. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 2 in the last one here. So I mean, you are the master of your crochet. You do what you want to do. You take the patterns, and patterns are simply just ideas. You know, I mean, no pattern designer out there is ever going to be mad because they told you to use a worsted weight acrylic yarn, and you used a super chunky blanket yarn. You make it the way you want to make it. This is going to be our final increase round, and we're going to go, you guessed it, 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and then we're going to increase 1, 2. So now we're going to start our repeating rounds, and we're going to go 6 rounds. We're just going to put 1 single crochet all the way around, and I'll do one with you, and then we'll meet back after it's all done. So let's count our stitches. I always like to count the stitches. 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 40, 41, 42 stitches, and going back and checking our stitch count, we should have 42 stitches, so we're right on track. You go ahead and finish the next 5 rounds all by yourself, and we'll meet you back here when it's done. We have just finished round 13, so we're all good to go. So we're going to single crochet 5 and then decrease. So we're going to go 1, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, and then here's our decrease. And for a decrease, a single crochet decrease is really simple. You go into your first stitch, pull up your loop. Now you have 2 on the hook. Then we're going to stop there and not finish that off. And then we're going to go to the very next stitch, go in, drop another loop. Now you have 3 on the hook, and then we're just going to go ahead and complete the single crochet going through all three loops, and that is a decrease. Let's look at that one more time. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then decrease. Go into the first stitch, drop your loop, go into the second stitch, drop a loop, 3 on the hook, pull through all 3, and that's couldn't be as simpler. And we just keep doing that all the way around. Round number 15 is going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease, and you can see the pattern emerging on this. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more time the decrease. Go in, drop a loop, go into the next stitch, drop a loop, and then all right through both of them. Next round, again, we just did 4 in decrease, so now we're going to do 3 in decrease. And this gets smaller and smaller each time, and each round is quicker and quicker to get done. It's like going downhill. It's always much faster to go downhill. And 1, 2, 3, and then our decrease. Round number 17. And as you can probably guess, we're going to go 1 and 2 and then decrease. Let's take a look at that decrease one more time. Insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, and then insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up another loop, and then just finish off by going through all 3 loops on the hook. Now we're going to bring out the unsung hero of our amigurumi, which is our stuffing. This is just a polyester fiber fill polyfill stuffing right here, and tears and whatnot's very easy, and we're going to shove it in this little hole, and we're going to stuff it as tight as we can. And this is another trick of amigurumi making. Okay, look, does that look like a ball to you? Does that look like that? It doesn't to me. Well, that's what we're going to do. That's what stuffing does. We're going to shape our ball as we stuff. And just plunk that in there as tight as can, and then you go down through the middle, and I like to push it out to the sides. All right, and just pull it and push it and shape it, and your project will take the shape that you're making. It's going to be 1 single crochet and then a decrease, and we're going to end up where we started with 12 stitches. So let's count it. So that's going to be 1 stitch, and then a decrease makes 2, like so, and then 1 more stitch for 3. Pull it tight, and you notice I'm pushing my finger down under like this. That's because I don't want to catch any of that stuffing and pull it out through the hole. Right, so this makes 4 for our decrease, and then 5, and then 6. We'll always be decreasing on even numbers. That makes it a little bit easier. There's 6. Pull it tight, and then 7, and then 8. 9, a little more yarn, 10, 11, and 1 more decrease makes 12. To finish it off, we're just going to make a slip stitch in the next hole, like that, and then I want a nice long tail to sew. You don't need a huge tail, you don't need a gigantic tail, but I like to leave enough tail so so I can sew this to the next. Okay, and then we're just going to pull straight out like that. Pull it tight, and you're done with the head. All right, you got your color for ball number 2. For ball number 2, I'm going to use this nice pretty blue color, and we're going to make 2 of these medium-sized balls. So we'll make one together, and then I'll leave you to make the second one on your own. If you need help, just replay this video, and we'll make the second ball along with me again. For this one, I think I'll go ahead and make the slip knot like that, and we'll go ahead and try and make a start a ball using that method. That way we can see how that looks. So let's go ahead, instead of making the magic ring, if you want to make the magic ring, you go right ahead, but it's a little difficult for people who are beginning. So we're going to chain 2, and then right here in the first chain we're going to start with our 6 single crochets. So there's 1 and 2 and 3, 4, get my tail out of the way, 5, make sure my hands are on camera, huh? That might help, 6. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and count back one more time to make sure we know where our starting is, and I do this every single time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we know. And once again, we're going to crochet right over top of that yarn tail. So let's put our crochet hook in here, and just like the first ball, we're going to increase in every stitch around. So that's 1 and 1 and 2 and 2. Round 2, we're going to 1 crochet and then an increase, single crochet increase, and we're going to do that all the way around. Round 4, we're going to do just like we did before, 2 single crochets and an increase. So that's 1 and 2 and an increase, and just keep doing that all the way around. All right, row number 5, pull out your yarn tail. If you can keep all these stitches straight without a yarn tail, you are a super genius. I cannot, so I am going to go ahead and use my yarn tail as my stitch marker here. I don't pay for fancy stitch markers. If you like the fancy stitch markers, you get fancy stitch markers. I have plenty of little scraps of yarn laying around that I can use. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 single crochets for row number 5, round number 5 rather, and then an increase. This is going to be our final increase round, and you could probably have guessed it. It's going to be 4 single crochets. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then our increase. And 1, 2 for the increase in the same stitch. Round 7 to 11, so that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I always count it out just to make sure I know exactly that it's going to be 5 rounds around, and we're going to do just 1 single crochet in each stitch, just like we did on our last one. Well, let's do this first one together, and we're going to count it out. We should have 36 stitches. The first, whenever I have a repeating round, I always like to just count the stitches just to make sure I know where I am. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 35, and 36. All right, we're right where we need to be again. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave you to finish off the next 4 rounds, and I'll meet you right back here. All right, now we're back. And that's finished of row 11. So let's move on to row number 12, which is going to start our decreasing rounds, just like the last one. Only difference is we don't have as many rounds to decrease. So we left off with a 4 single crochet and an increase in the last increase row. So this one we'll do 4 single crochets, 1, and get that out of the way there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a decrease, and then just keep doing that all the way around. Number 13, which you've guessed it, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3 single crochets. Grab up more of our yarn here to use, and then our decrease. So here we go with round number 14. 14 gets quicker and quicker. So now we're just doing 2, 1, 2, and then a decrease. You can stuff this at any point you want. I like to stuff it here because the hole is big enough for me to fit my fingers through, but not so big that everything's going to start spilling out and get in the way when I'm trying to work in the subsequent rows. But you stuff it whenever you like. Now we're our last round, just like on our larger ball there. We're going to go down to a stitch count of 12. And I just like to count it out, so count it out with me. There's 1, and then our decrease makes 2 stitches. And then 3. And then our decrease makes 4. And then 5. And then a decrease makes 6. And then again, with the way we have our pattern laid out, we're always decreasing on an even number. And then 7. And then a decrease makes 8. Then 9. Then a decrease makes 10. And then 11. And a decrease makes 12. And we're going to finish it off just like we did before by putting a slip stitch in the very next stitch. All right, it just brings down the stitches to make sure it's a little flatter, so it sits a little better. And once again, get yourself a nice long tail, cut it off, and pull through. So let's finish off the body by making the small ball for the end. And again, we're just using our worsted weight yarn with our 4mm hook. Let's just go ahead and make our magic ring, or go ahead and do 2 single crochets, whichever you prefer. And we're going to put our 6 single crochets right inside the ring to start round 1, 3, and 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and tug that close, and I'm going to go ahead and count back to 6 so I know where my starting stitch is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, for round number 2 is going to be just 2 single crochets in each stitch, making sure you secure that yarn tail in there over the first couple of stitches. Go ahead and do that, and we'll see you back in just a second. To start out round number 3, I'm going to take and place our stitch marker right in there so we don't lose our place. And we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch, just like so. And then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. That's 1 and 2, and we're going to repeat that all the way around until we reach our stitch marker. 1 in the first, 2 in the second. Go ahead and get that done, and we'll see you at the other side. Okay, and for round number 4, I'm sure you're getting the hang of this pattern by now, having done all those balls before, but we're going to go ahead and put 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then on the third stitch we're going to put 2 single crochets in the same stitch, just like we've been doing though for the whole project so far. Okay, and that's 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and then in the third stitch we'll go ahead and put a single crochet increase, and that's 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And we'll see you on the other side after we get all that done. Alright, now we're all done with round number 4, on to round number 5, and just go ahead and keep increasing like at the same rate we've been doing. So that's going to be a single crochet in the first 3 stitches. That's 1 and 2 and then 3, and then in the fourth stitch we're going to go ahead and do an increase and put 2 single crochets right in there, and this is just going to fly right by, and we'll see you right back when we hit the stitch marker. Okay, all done. Now we're all done with our increasing rows, and now we're going to grow the project through rows 6, 7, 8, and 9. So for the next 4 rows, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch. So move your stitch marker up, and you should have 30 stitches all the way around. So if you want to count them as you go, you'll know exactly where you should be, and just go ahead and put 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around for 4 rows. And we'll see you right back here when it's all done, and you'll see we're flying right through this, and we'll be done in just no time at all. All right, we got all 4 rows down. Now we're in row number 10, and for this round we're going to go ahead and place our stitch marker, and we're going to start our decreasing rounds, which if you've been making the other balls, you should know exactly what to do. We're going to go 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then 3 single crochets, and then in the 4th one we're going to do our decrease, and we're going to do that all the way around. Single crochet in the first 3, 1 and 2, 3, and then in the 4th we'll just do our single crochet decrease. Go ahead and do that all the way around, and we'll meet you back for row number 11. Alright, we're down there to round number 11 now, and we're going to move our stitch marker up one more time, and our next decrease round is going to be a single crochet in the next two stitches. So that's 1 and 2, and in the 3rd stitch that's where we'll put our decrease, right like that. Okay, so that's a single crochet in the 1st, a single crochet in the 2nd, and then a decrease. Go ahead and do all that around, and when we're done we'll go ahead and stuff it, and then we'll be on our final round. Alright, so now I'm just going to finish up adding my the last bit of stuffing after round number 11, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our final decrease round, round number 12. Remember, I usually don't put a stitch marker in for the last round because I feel it gets in the way a little bit, but if you like it, go ahead and use it by all means. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and count it around for the final decrease. So that's 1 single crochet in the 1st. Oops, look at that. See, caught a little bit of stuffing up through there. If that happens, just poke it back down. That way it doesn't stick out. Okay, 1 single crochet in the 1st stitch, and then the 2nd stitch is going to be a decrease, and then that's going to be number 2, and we're going to take these stitches to 12. So in the 3rd is a single crochet, 4th a decrease, 5th a single crochet, and in the 6th is our decrease. We're just alternating back and forth. 7th is a single crochet, 8th is a decrease, 9 is a single crochet, 10 will be a decrease, 11 is single crochet, and then 12, finally, our last decrease, just like so. And go ahead and put a slip stitch in the last stitch. Go ahead and leave yourself a nice long tail for sewing, and when we come back we're almost done. Now you have all your balls done. Next step, we're going to make our wings. And now let's take a look at our with our finished one already. The wings are made in 2 parts. The top part is here, the bottom part is here, and then it's crocheted together. And it might, if you're looking at the pattern, it might seem a little daunting, but it's really quite easy once you get into it. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to make our magic ring with 6 single crochets inside. So there's our magic ring. And go ahead and put 6 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Our starting stitch, and you probably have guessed again, we are going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Bring your stitch total up to 12. Let's get our stitch marker out again, and we're going to take that all the way up to 18. So we'll just go 1 single crochet in the first, and then 2 single crochets in the second, and repeat that all the way around. In round 4, we're just going to scale it up right again. It's just like we were making the balls, with 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and then an increase. Round number 5 is our last increase round for this, and we will go with 3. 1, 2, 3 single crochets, then an increase. Rounds 6 through 8, so that's 6, 7, 8, so 3 rounds. We're going to just go 1 single crochet all the way around, and you guys know how to do that, so I'll go ahead and finish that. You finish yours up, and we'll see you back here when that's all done. Okay, I got mine all done. Are you all done? If not, go ahead and just hit that pause button right there. But for now, we're going to finish off by slip stitching in the next stitch, and then we're going to take, and we don't need quite so long of a yarn tail, but we are going to need it, because when we put these two together, there might be a tiny little gap in between, and we're going to use that to sew it close. And our bottom piece is going to start again with just a magic ring with 6 single crochets right inside. So let's make our magic ring and our 6 single crochets, and you guessed it, 2 crochets in each stitch around to make 12 stitches. 1 and 1 right over top of your yarn tail. Here goes round number 3, just like before. We're going to bring it to 18 with 1 single crochet in the first, 2 in the second. All right, here's round number 3. On to 4. We're going to go with 2 single crochets and then an increase. So here we go, 1, 2, and then our increase. Rounds 5 through 7, we're just going to go around once, one single crochet in each stitch around. So that's 5, 6, 7, 3 rows of that. You know how to do that. We'll meet you back here in 3 rounds. All right, I got mine all done. How's yours? Now we're going to take on and put this together with this in this round. All right, we're not going to finish this off. We're just going to continue around and attach this. It's going to be a little confusing if you've never worked with attaching 2 pieces together, but once you get the hang of it, it's a really versatile trick to use. So we're going to start by crocheting 12 on here. There are 24 stitches around. We're going to go half of that and crochet 12. So let's put 12 single crochets in. That's 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. There. And now we're going to take this guy here, and we're going to keep crocheting around right where we left off. So here's where we left off, and we're going to just keep crocheting around. So we're going to take this, insert the hook through the last stitch here where we left off, and I like to just slip stitch, put a slip stitch right in there to join the two. And then we're going to crochet in each one of these stitches around, which should be 30. So let's go with 1 and 2, 3, 28. Let's get this yarn tail out of the way. 28, 29. Actually, we want it on this side, so we'll put it over there. And then one more right here makes 30. All right, so now from here, we're just going to jump back over to the where we left off over here. So you can see here, right here, is the stitch we left off on, and right here is the next one. So we're just going to put 12 more single crochets in there. So there's 1 and 2, 11, and one more makes 12. How about that? It worked. And now look, we have them attached together. Okay, And remember how I said when we finished off the top one, we left the tail, because if you can see there, right in the middle, right there, is a tiny little hole where we're going to use that tail to sew that up. So it's not open. All right, on the next row, we should have 54 stitches around. Okay, I purposely built this row in to fix your stitch count if you need to. So just go ahead and stitch all the way around. If you ended up with more than 54, make a couple decreases, however many you need, or if you ended up with less than 54, go ahead and stick a couple of increases in, whatever you need to do. If you just make sure they're spaced out around, so it's not, you don't have like 5 increases all in a row right here. If you need to put 5 increases, just space them around all around the your piece here. So go ahead and do that. And I'll do that, and come on back, and we'll finish up this project. All right, I've got 54 around. You got 54? Good. All right, now we're going to start decreasing this to get it down to our nice wing size. So for the next round, round number 14, it's going to be, we're going to do 7 single crochets. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're going to decrease. And remember how to decrease, right? Go through your next stitch, pull up a loop, go through the stitch after, pull up another loop, and then go through all 3 of the loops on your hook. Round number 15, and we're going to do 6 single crochets and then decrease. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then decrease. And okay, for 16, we're just going to keep doing the same thing we've been doing. We're going to do 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then our decrease. Row number 17, just going to be 1 stitch all the way around for 36 stitches, and you know how to do that. So we'll meet you back here when that's done. All right, here we are all the way around again, and to start round number 18, we're going to go with 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets, and then our decrease. The 19, we're going to be our last decreasing round. It's almost done. Can you feel it? Can you feel how close you are? And we're going to do 3 single crochets. 1 and 2 and 3, and then decrease. For rounds 20 to 24, so that's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5 more rows. We're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then we'll finish off. Right. I'm all done with mine. Are you done with yours? So I was looking at my pattern here, and I think I said that this was going to be round 24. It's actually round 20. The final round will be round 20. So when you're all done with all 20 rounds, just go ahead and we're going to slip stitch there like we've done before. And this time we're going to leave a longer tail to sew this to the body. When we're done, clip that off and pull it through. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my yarn needles and thread it through this the yarn tail we had sitting here in the middle on the top from the first piece of the wing. Just go ahead and put it right through, and we're going to sew up this little hole here. And there's no real rhyme or reason. We're just going to get out this little hole. So I just like to come back up and through a few times, like so, just to give it a little, pull it together. Okay, and then we're going to make a little knot. And this is how I like to do it. Okay, so we have our loop here from when we pulled through, and go up through. Okay. And it's going to get a little confusing. So now we're through there, and we're going to pull this up like this. So now we have another loop. Pull that tight, And then we're going to go through that again, pull that down, and just cinch it closed. And then you don't really even have to cut these off. So just poke it back through, bring it out the bottom, and leave it in there. No one's the wiser. Tuck that right back in there. And there we've made a wing. So now let's go right on into making our little spots for the wings. Okay, there are two sizes, bigger ones for the top and smaller ones for the bottom. And see, there's our wing in comparison. And let's get all that on camera there. Put my yarn needle away, and I'm going to be making these out of this lovely purple color here. All right. And we're going to need 4 spots all together. We're going to need 2 big ones and 2 small ones, and I'm going to show you how to make both of them right now. They're that easy because you already know how to do it because we've been doing this the entire time. So we're just going to go ahead and make our magic ring again, once again, and put 6 single crochets in it. Once again, you've guessed it, once again, you're smart. Put 2 single crochets in each stitch around, for a total of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. So if you were making the smaller of the 2 spots, you stop there. You just go ahead and slip stitch and tie off and leave a yarn tail for sewing. We're going to continue on for the bigger spot. So that's the smaller spot. Bigger spot gets 1 more round, and we're going to use our stitch marker here so we don't lose our place. And we're going to put 1 more round in and increase it to 18. You know how to do that? Of course you do. 1, and then 2 in the next. 2. And there's the bigger one. So smaller one is just up to 12. Bigger one, increase to 18. And then again, here we are. All we do is slip stitch, and then leave a nice size tail. Not a huge tail, not a small tail, just a nice size tail for sewing to our project when we're done. And you go ahead and make those spots up, and we'll meet you back here for the final step. Right, so now we're all done with our balls, our wings, our spots. The only thing left to tackle is our little itty bitty antenna here. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to make these out of the black yarn because I think it looks the best, but I'm going to be the first to tell you I hate crocheting with black yarn. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, because it's harder to see your stitches, especially when doing something like this. And this is going to be kind of small, and which makes it a little bit harder to fit your stitches in sometimes. So we're going to go ahead and start our magic ring, and this time we're only going to put 4 stitches in it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and we're going to pull it closed, and we're going to count back 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see how you can't even see on camera where one stitch starts and the other ends. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 single crochets in each stitch around, bringing it up to 8. So there's 1 and 1 and 2 and 2. Are you crocheting over your yarn tail? I am. And then we're going with 3 and 3, and finally, get in there, 4 and 4. All right, so that gives us 8 around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so now we're going to do 2 rounds, just one single crochet in each. So now we're going to go ahead and decrease this from 8 stitches to 6 stitches. So you notice I'm not using a stitch marker here. I'm just keeping track of it in my head. If you can do that, great. If not, go ahead and throw a little stitch marker on. Just don't use the black one we have been using. So for this one, we're going to go 1, 2, and then we're going to decrease. All right, and then we're going to go 1 and 2 and decrease. And now we have 6 stitches. Alright, now it's going to get a little tight here, but just keep on it and you can do it. And we're going to go all the way around 6 stitches for 4 more rows or rounds. Go 4 rounds down, and then when you get down, it's going to look like this guy right here. Hey, look, I prepared one earlier. And when you get your 4 rows down, just go ahead and slip stitch and tie off like we have been doing. Go ahead and leave yourself a yarn tail. I like to stuff this again pretty firmly. Just you see your teeny tiny hole there. Just take your hook and put it down there. If you have a stuffing stick, that's good too. A pencil, anything that's going to fit down in that little hole, and go ahead and stuff it so your little bulge sticks out, and then it will stand up nice and straight. Get all that done, and then when I see you next, we're gonna put all this together and make it look like a butterfly. Thanks for joining us today. Go ahead and click on the right for the sewing together video. On the left is one of our other videos. Make sure you click on the little circle icon to subscribe to our channel. It really helps us to support, and we'll see you next time.